Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I am a voice teacher. Today I will be reacting to and analyzing Maria Mena performing Not Sober in Stockholm, beautiful city, in 2016. Sweden live, 20th of March. Wonderful, so looking forward to it. If you are looking forward to being a better singer at some point in your life, I highly suggest heading over to vocalese.net and looking through the available voice teachers ready for your booking, including myself, but also some other wonderful teachers who are much better at me at other things. Please go sign up. Let's see Maria.
When I wrote this next song, I was even thinking about this moment. I was thinking, how do I explain to people what this is about without telling them what it's about? And then I realized none of you guys expect me to not say everything, right? Because you've heard my lyrics before. So let's just be honest. This is a song about a panic attack. It's basically about being alone with yourself and not being able to actually withstand it. I know I'm not the only one here who's had that feeling before, where you really can't deal with your own thoughts. And to people who've never been through this, it sounds really simple. But when all you want to do is escape yourself, and you can't get out of there, it's a really hard thing to do. So this is a song about that. It's called Not Sober.
Awesome. Totally relate. That is a hard thing and a thing that I have had to go through a little in my life, and it's very scary. And I think it's very vulnerable that she's opening up about that already. We love vulnerability in a performer, and a lot of times as the performer, that can be really difficult because going into some of these really heavy places night after night after night can be really wearing. And so I do think it's important to have good self-care and to understand who you are and to work on yourself and take care of yourself if that is something that you are prone to and you're a touring artist. But there's also an element of okay, you don't have to perform as yourself 100% all the time. Sometimes you can just kind of explore performing as someone else or as a multiverse version of yourself. What would happen if you just changed one thing when you were 13 and the totally different person that you would be, and channel that. And sometimes doing things like that can give us a little bit more separation from the subject matter so that we can sing it with authenticity, but without it completely taking us over. Another thing I noticed just in her spoken voice, it sounded like she was a little bit tired, maybe. That's one thing that could go into that, or holding back emotion. I think that I would tend to think more of the latter, but let's see how she sounds when she sings.
It starts with a quiver, a thought-provoked shiver, a fear I can deliver. They don't need me, they don't need me, the comfort of my home.
Really lovely voice so far. There is a lot of reverb on her voice, which sounds great. I think it's a lovely mix, but it does make it hard to hear exactly what's going on. The reverb covers up quite a bit. There is a little bit of pitchiness, but it doesn't bother me because she is so in this character. And to me, that's gotta be the number one thing. If you are an artist at this level, you cannot be thinking about what the next pitch is that you're gonna sing all the time. I think she knows these pitches perfectly and that she doesn't care if a few of them are slightly off. I sure don't care. I don't think most people will notice, but I do think that there is a tendency from some people as they're judging voices to get ultra picky and be like, man, that one note was barely flat and it ruined everything for me. That doesn't matter as much to me. I'm much more into the storytelling and into consistency of tone.
Now feels like a prison. My thoughts lacking reason. No one loves me. No one loves me. I am afraid of the dark.
Awesome. So she goes up into her head voice a little bit, and then she comes back into a mixier, full voice sound. When she came back down into the more modal voice, she didn't get super loud. Really important. A lot of times when people switch between registers like that, there's a huge shift and it makes it sound like a totally different instrument or just inappropriate and wrong. That sounded great. She sounds great.
When I am alone with my thoughts, so here's to avoid falling apart.
Good. And then a conscious use of just a ton of extra air, but that is a sound that she hasn't really used up till now. Doing that up super high is really challenging. It's hard to get a super breathy, predictable sound up high. It's hard to get a breathy sound that's predictable anywhere. And so I think there's a lot of skill in doing that well. And that most of the time when people do that well, they have something else as an option. They're not only doing breathy sounds. And again, up till now, she's been maybe using a little bit of breathiness, kind of the amount that I heard in her spoken voice, but it's not like profoundly breathy. That was the first time that she really made that choice.
I'm not sober.
Great. Great mix.
I lie 'cause I'm shameful. My movements weak, eyes dull. A complete loss of control. I'm a failure. I'm a failure. It's like taking a beating.
Good. She has a habit at the end of some of her words that end in nasals, so NGs or Ms or Ns, to close into them really early and then buzz on them for a few moments, which, because she does it so much, it's absolutely a part of her style. In general, if we can sing mostly on vowels, it sounds better, but every once in a while, having these moments where it's like, I'm dwelling on this for a moment, then makes it really impactful. And I think that's exactly what she's doing. Most of the time, she is singing mostly on the vowel, and she's not going to like shiver, right? Shiver. And there's maybe just that little bit at the end. I don't know if that was the best example. I don't know the song, but anyway, it sounds like she is going into that N or the ng as a choice at the end. I think it sounds really good.
Hung from the ceiling.
Ceiling.
Fear is only a feeling.
Okay, I lied on that fear. She went into that really early. So that's a thing that gives her some of that style. But pay attention to the ratio of when she holds out vowel and she cares about the vowel a lot, and how does she handle her consonant clusters at the end versus when she closes into those consonants a little bit earlier. And see if there's any sort of pattern in that, because finding patterns like that, then you could imitate those patterns if you really like her style. Yeah, when she goes, she's spending a lot of time up at that C sharp and D area, which a lot of people feel a bridge around that area. A lot of people will feel it really start turning up into their head if it hasn't by then. With her, it sounds like she has gotten through that bridge well earlier, because that doesn't sound hard at all for her, and it all sounds a little bit headier, right? It's a headier mix kind of sound. So she's able to really back off on the volume, because you can kind of do that when it's a headier quality mix, versus if it was more of the really chesty belt that maybe I don't know, Demi Lovato, they're a pretty good choice for that kind of stuff. Jessie J, right? Jessie sounds like a lot more of that big belt kind of sound, where Maria sounds a little bit more on top, a little closer to the Ariana Grande kind of approach. Yeah, because like all of these sound full. They sound like a full voice. None of them sound like chest at all to me, or like any sort of from below sort of feeling. Everything feels like she knows where this place is. I doubt she's trying to place it, but she's thinking more straight out, or if she's not thinking it, that's kind of what I would describe is The sound doesn't sound like it's reaching for anything. It's just, I know where I'm coming from, straight out. And through that straight out, I can lean into the sound to get a full sound. But it's not going to have the sort of intensity and yell-like quality as if you were coming from below, which is a lot closer to a yell. So really talented singer.
It starts with a quiver, a thought-provoked shimmer, a fear I can deliver. You don't need me, you don't need me.
Good performance. She kept what she stayed in the story the whole way through. It looked like it was coming from a place of trying to share something vulnerable rather than like, I'm performing, which I think there's a place for too, for that really theatrical sound. I love theatrical looking things and whatever. This doesn't feel as performative to me, but I think it's a really great performance. So sound off in the comments. What's the difference between being performative and having a good performance? Do you seem to have any sort of preference between those? Another thing I loved about her is most of it is within like a pretty similar volume range. I don't think that she's getting profoundly louder when she goes into the things that sound really loud. So she does a really good job of varying the intensity while keeping in a fairly limited dynamic scope, which I think makes it easier to mic her. And I also think it's probably less draining for her as the artist to go like that. Not saying she's not getting loud. She's getting loud enough to sound like that, but she's not going too much further than that to the point where it starts sounding pressed. It's really good. I don't know who said it, but one of my students told me a quote that he heard from a person who worked with Justin Bieber, who commented that the reason that Bieber is so awesome to work with is because all of his takes are really quiet, and it makes it easier to work with as a sound engineer from everything that I've heard. And it's just way easier as the singer to keep everything kind of more at that spoken volume level. I say as someone who gets really, really loud when I sing, and that's something that I've always kind of been jealous of, is singers who can go into this place a little bit more. But we've got way different voices. Like, my voice is bigger than Maria Mena's voice. I might need to get louder at certain parts where she doesn't. It's important to just know the limits of your instrument and keep trying to find some of the other sounds that might be difficult, but spend most of the time in what feels really good for you. Like, this sounds like it feels really good for her, so she doesn't have to think about it. And any of the, like, yes, there were a few moments where it sounded like the pitch was not perfect, and I don't care. I notice it, but I don't care, and I hope that you can practice not caring either, as long as all of these good things are falling into place. Because a lot of times when these good things, like the storytelling and the tonal quality, fall into place, so does the pitch. So good singing. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Go over to my website, vocalease.net, and click on book a lesson, and then like click on the other things and look at the teachers available, and then click on their face and book a lesson. Thank you.